Develop inner tranquility. The following Stoic ideas will help you develop inner serenity in the vein of Marcus Aurelius and learn the art of non-combat to defeat your enemies. Acceptance of external events. Adopt the Stoic notion of the love of fate by being open to and accepting of external events as they come, regardless of how difficult or unfortunate they may be. Marcus Aurelius shows us to accept all of the aspects of our fate while acknowledging that we do not influence outside forces. Prioritize the development of virtue in your thoughts and deeds. Examples of virtues are wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. You can resolve disputes with moral clarity and integrity by living according to these characteristics, regardless of how other people behave. Detachment from outcomes. Let go of your attachment to particular results and concentrate on your behavior and character. Marcus Aurelius tells us that we have more authority over our ideas and deeds than over outside circumstances or other people's conduct. Empathy and compassion for others. Recognize that your opponents may be behaving out of ignorance or suffering, and develop empathy and compassion for them. You can respond to disputes with kindness and tolerance instead of hatred or resentment if you regard others with empathy. Preserve inner harmony. To preserve inner harmony, make sure your feelings, ideas, and behavior are in line with Stoic precepts. Marcus Aurelius highlights the value of preserving inner peace and equilibrium despite chaos or strife outside. These Marcus Aurelius-inspired Stoic ideas will help you develop inner serenity and become an expert at non-combat so you can defeat your enemies with compassion, fortitude, and wisdom. Exercise self-control. Self-control is one of the main Stoic tactics, derived from Marcus Aurelius, to defeat your enemies. Marcus Aurelius highlighted that to achieve inner calm and overcome outside obstacles, it is crucial to master one's emotions and wants. The following are a few Stoic techniques based on the self-control lessons taught by Marcus Aurelius. Temperance in action. Refrain from acting rashly or impulsively to demonstrate temperance in your activities. Consider the ramifications of your actions with wisdom and control before responding hastily to provocation or conflict. Mindful response. Develop self-awareness and mindfulness to be able to examine your thoughts and feelings without letting them control you. Practice being cautious in your response to hardship or confrontation, as opposed to being hasty or defensive. Using anger. Direct your anger energy toward worthwhile endeavors to turn it into productive activity. Use your anger as motivation to confront the underlying reasons for a dispute with clarity and resolution, rather than letting it obscure your judgment or increase your animosity against your opponents. Selecting virtuous reactions. Base your answers on Stoic qualities like justice, bravery, and wisdom. When faced with enemies or opponents, resist the want for vengeance or retaliation by making decisions based on moral integrity and ethical ideals. Reflection practice. To find areas for development and improvement, often reflect and examine yourself. Marcus Aurelius exhorts us to examine our ideas and deeds with humility and honesty, understanding that self-awareness is the foundation for exercising self-control. Inspired by the self-controlled teachings of Marcus Aurelius, you can defeat your enemies with inner power, knowledge, and resilience by applying these Stoic tactics to your life. Pick your battles carefully. The age-old tenet of Stoic philosophy, choose your battles wisely, emphasizes the value of judgment and calculated decision-making in overcoming obstacles in life. Motivated by the Stoic philosophy, especially that of Marcus Aurelius, here's how to use this idea to defeat your enemies. Prioritize inner peace. Put your inner peace and well-being first before entering into any kind of disagreement or confrontation. Consider if the conflict is worth the possible internal and external upheaval it could bring about. Knowing when to give up and protect your peace of mind is part of picking your battles intelligently. Think about long-term consequences. Prepare yourself for any long-term as well as short-term effects that fighting may have. Stoics advise us to think about the consequences of the choices we make and the acts we take, acknowledging that some conflicts may have long-term ramifications that exceed any short-term benefits. Aim for resolution, not victory. Change your perspective from pursuing your enemy's defeat to focusing on finding peace and harmony, as they recognize that true power comes from discovering common ground and understanding one another. Stoics place a strong emphasis on harmony and collaboration in interpersonal relationships. Practice detachment. When confronted with confrontation, try to keep your ego and emotions at bay. Stoicism teaches us to see the outside world objectively and detachedly, realizing that our mental health is independent of how a given conflict turns out. Accept strategic retreat. Acknowledge that, in some circumstances, making a strategic retreat can be a brave and intelligent course of action. Prudence and foresight are valued by Stoics, who understand when to take a temporary backseat to reevaluate the situation and save their energy for more difficult battles. You can negotiate conflicts with wisdom, resilience, and strategic judgment by adhering to the Stoic principle of choose your battles wisely, which was influenced by the teachings of Marcus Aurelius and other Stoic philosophers. Ultimately, you can overcome your enemies with grace and integrity. Look for points of agreement. Seek common ground is a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy, highlighting the significance of cooperating and coming to a shared understanding even in the face of disagreements or conflicts. Motivated by the Stoic philosophy, especially that of Marcus Aurelius, here's how to use this idea to defeat your enemies. Develop empathy. Recognize that your opponents are people with opinions, experiences, and goals of their own. You may establish a foundation for mutual understanding by placing yourself in their position and learning more about their goals and concerns. Engage in active listening when speaking with your opponents. Allow them to voice their opinions and concerns without passing judgment or interjecting. Sincerely listening to their viewpoint demonstrates openness and respect, which creates a favorable atmosphere for communication and cooperation. Concentrate on common goals. Despite your differences, find common goals or interests with your opponents. Instead of concentrating on points of contention or conflict, Stoics advise us to concentrate on areas of agreement and collaboration. You may create understanding and bridges by highlighting your shared ground. Look for solutions. Reorient your relationships such that they are more focused on problem-solving and teamwork, rather than accusation or confrontation. Stoicism teaches us to approach disagreements to find win-win solutions that take into account the needs and worries of all parties. Practice tolerance and patience. Recognize that sincere understanding and reconciliation may require some time. Therefore, exercise tolerance and patience in your relationships with your adversaries. Since real transformation frequently necessitates patience and tenacity, Stoics emphasize the value of forbearance and endurance in the face of hardship. Lead by example. Set an exemplary example for others to follow and show that you are dedicated to finding common ground while interacting with them. Marcus Aurelius tells us that deeds speak louder than words and that by living stoically ourselves, we encourage others to do the same. Retain integrity. When looking for points of agreement with your opponents, don't waver from your morals and beliefs. Integrity and moral clarity are important to Stoics, who understand that morality or one's integrity should never be sacrificed in the name of compromise. You can resolve disagreements with integrity, knowledge, and compassion by adhering to the Stoic ideal of seek common ground, which was popularized by Marcus Aurelius and other Stoic thinkers. Ultimately, mutual understanding and collaboration will enable you to overcome your opponents. Develop empathy. A fundamental principle of Stoic philosophy, empathy is developing compassion, understanding, and a sense of connectedness with others, even amid difficulty or conflict. Drawing on the teachings of Marcus Aurelius and other Stoic thinkers, here's how you use empathy as a tool to defeat your enemies. Put yourself in their shoes. Spend some time putting yourself in your opponent's shoes and taking into account their viewpoints, feelings, and experiences. You can develop more empathy and understanding by understanding their perspective and learning about their goals and worries. Engage in active listening by paying close attention to what your opponents are saying and making a sincere effort to comprehend their feelings and thoughts. You may foster an environment of open and honest communication and provide the foundation for empathy and connection by listening without passing judgment or interjecting. Recognize their humanity. You must acknowledge that your enemies are complex people with their hopes, concerns, and vulnerabilities. You must also acknowledge the humanity in them. Stoics highlight that despite our differences and disagreements, we are all connected by our shared humanity. Show compassion and understanding. Show your adversaries that you understand and care about them by showing empathy for their hardships. Acknowledging their suffering helps to build mutual respect and a sense of connection by displaying empathy and kindness. Seek common ground. Try to find any points of agreement or shared ideals that you and your opponents may have. You may create trust and heal divisions by highlighting similar interests and concerns, which will open the door to productive communication and teamwork. Practice forgiveness. Let go of your anger and animosity toward your enemies by developing forgiveness and compassion for them. Stoicism encourages us to let go of our grudges and complaints because it acknowledges that forgiveness is a potent tool for healing and self-liberation. Set an empathic example. Set an empathetic example for others to follow in your relationships with everyone, even your enemies. According to Marcus Aurelius, deeds speak louder than words, and when we demonstrate empathy and compassion through our conduct, we encourage others to do the same. Inspired by Marcus Aurelius and other Stoic thinkers, you can develop empathy by practicing empathy and developing a sense of understanding, connection, and compassion with your opponents. This will help you resolve disagreements and create lasting relationships based on respect and kindness. Concentrate on finding solutions. A key component of Stoic philosophy is solution-focused thinking, which emphasizes the need to act constructively to solve problems and get over barriers. Motivated by the Stoic philosophy, especially that of Marcus Aurelius, consider the following ways to use the principle of concentrating on solutions to defeat your enemies. Determine the root cause. Invest some time in determining the underlying reasons why you and your opponents disagree or are at odds. Knowing the source of the issue can help you solve it more skillfully and avoid similar problems in the future. Establish specific objectives. Establish specific and attainable objectives for settling the dispute or conquering the obstacle presented by your opponents. The significance of clarity and focus in goal setting is emphasized by Stoics as it allows you to direct your efforts toward particular results. Look for creative solutions. Use your imagination and consider different strategies to work out a compromise with your opponents. Stoicism teaches us to approach issues with an open mind and a readiness to explore out-of-the-ordinary solutions that might result in win-win situations. Concentrate on what you can control. Rather than focusing on circumstances that are beyond your control, focus your attention on the elements of the situation that are under your control. Stoics instruct us to concentrate on our ideas, deeds, and choices because they understand that true strength comes from mastering oneself. Collaborate and cooperate. To identify points of agreement and move toward common solutions, have productive conversations and cooperate with your opponents. To resolve disputes and overcome obstacles, Stoicism places a strong emphasis on collaboration and understanding between parties. Take decisive action. To successfully implement prospective solutions, act decisively once you've found them, because they understand that taking action is frequently the best remedy for ambiguity and indecision. Stoics place high importance on bravery and decisiveness in the face of difficulty. Remain resilient and adaptive. Be ready to modify and revise your strategy as necessary in reaction to evolving conditions or fresh data. Stoicism teaches us to face uncertainty and hardship with courage and tenacity because we understand that they present chances for development and betterment of self. Inspired by Marcus Aurelius and other Stoic thinkers, you can approach conflicts with clarity, inventiveness, and resolve by concentrating on solutions, which will ultimately help you overcome your opponents with knowledge, resilience, and integrity. Keep integrity. One of the main tenets of Stoic philosophy is keeping integrity, which emphasizes the significance of operating morally and ethically even in the face of hardship or hostility. Motivated by the Stoic philosophy, especially that of Marcus Aurelius, consider these strategies for upholding integrity in the face of opposition. Make your values clear. Invest some time in outlining the fundamental beliefs and tenets that govern your behavior. Stoics place a strong emphasis on the necessity of moral clarity and self-awareness for leading a moral life. Stay true to yourself. When faced with pressure or the want to give in, resist the need to compromise and stay firm in your commitment to doing morally. Stoicism teaches us to value our inner integrity more highly than accolades or acceptance from others. Be honest and transparent. Be honest and transparent in all of your relationships with everyone, even your enemies. Sincerity and authenticity are valued by Stoics in all facets of life because they understand that being truthful fosters credibility and trust. Refuse to give up on your integrity or ethical principles. Even in trying situations, resist giving in to your compromises. Regardless of outside circumstances, Stoicism emphasizes the value of moral strength and resilience in maintaining virtuous behavior. Lead by example. Set a good example for others to follow by acting and speaking with honesty. According to Marcus Aurelius, our behavior defines our character more so than our intentions, and when we behave honorably, we encourage others to do the same. Accept responsibility for your actions. Even when making tough or uncomfortable decisions, own up to your actions and the results. Since accepting responsibility for one's actions is the foundation of true freedom, Stoics promote self-discipline and self-accountability. Practice self-reflection. Assess your devotion to your ideals and principles by regularly indulging in self-reflection and introspection. Realizing that self-awareness is crucial for one's development, Stoicism invites us to honestly and modestly assess our beliefs and deeds. Inspired by Marcus Aurelius and other Stoic thinkers, you can overcome your opponents with knowledge, resiliency, and inner power by upholding integrity and navigating confrontations with clarity, dignity, and moral courage. Embrace forgiveness. Stoic philosophy emphasizes the transformational power of forgiveness, stressing the necessity of letting go of anger, resentment, and grudges to gain inner peace and liberation. Motivated by the Stoic philosophy, especially that of Marcus Aurelius, consider the following strategies for using forgiveness to defeat your enemies. Release resentment. Decide to let go of your animosity and bitterness toward your opponents. Stoicism shows us that clinging to our anger just makes things worse for us, keeping us mired in a pit of misery and negativity. You can release yourself from the hold of resentment and pave the way for healing and reconciliation by letting go of it. Develop empathy. Recognize that your enemies are also fallible people with their weaknesses and challenges. Develop empathy and understanding for them. Regardless of their behavior, Stoics highlight the value of having compassion and forgiveness for others. Acknowledge impermanence. Consider how everything, even disputes and resentment, is transient. Stoicism teaches us to accept life's fleeting nature and understand that harboring resentment simply makes us suffer more. We can let go of attachments to previous hurts and move ahead with grace and acceptance by realizing the transient nature of conflicts. Concentrate on the present. Rather than focusing on your complaints from the past, try to embrace the now as it is. Living in the present moment is crucial for Stoics as opposed to dwelling on injustices from the past or anxieties about the future. By keeping your attention on the here and now, you can develop a sense of acceptance and serenity that goes beyond old grievances. Practice self-compassion. Show yourself and other people forgiveness and compassion. Stoicism encourages us to be gentle and sympathetic with ourselves because we are often the harshest judges of ourselves. You can develop an outward projecting sense of inner calm and self-acceptance by engaging in self-compassion practices. Select healing over harm. Select healing and peacemaking over escalating hostilities or disputes. Stoics place a strong emphasis on making decisions that advance harmony and peace as opposed to retaliation or cycles of conflict. You can choose to let go of the need for revenge and make room for recovery and development by deciding to forgive. Set an example. Set an example of forgiveness with your words and deeds. True power, according to Marcus Aurelius, is found in forgiving and being compassionate toward those who have wronged us. Your actions serve as an example of forgiveness, encouraging others to follow suit. Inspired by Marcus Aurelius and other Stoic thinkers, you can free yourself from the weight of old grudges and develop inner serenity, fortitude, and compassion through the practice of forgiveness. Eventually, you will defeat your enemies with dignity and grace. Embrace adversity. A cornerstone of Stoic philosophy, embracing adversity emphasizes the significance of meeting life's obstacles head-on with bravery, resiliency, and discernment. Motivated by the Stoic philosophy, especially that of Marcus Aurelius, consider these strategies for overcoming adversity to defeat your enemies. Change your viewpoint. Reinterpret hardship as a chance for development and betterment of self. Stoicism teaches us to see obstacles as worthwhile educational opportunities that advance our fortitude, resiliency, and wisdom. By changing your viewpoint, you can welcome hardship as a teacher instead of an adversary. Practice acceptance. Give in to the truth of hardship without fighting it or denying it. Stoics place a strong emphasis on accepting that suffering and struggle are inevitable in life. You may overcome adversity with more resilience and inner serenity if you accept it with grace and composure. Build resilience. By strengthening your inner fortitude and strength, you may build resilience in the face of hardship. Stoicism encourages us to face obstacles head-on, with bravery and determination, understanding that they are opportunities to refine and fortify our character. You can overcome adversity and come out stronger and more resilient than before if you embrace it with resilience. Discover meaning and purpose. In the face of hardship, look for meaning and purpose. Adversity can spur personal development and self-discovery, causing us to reassess our goals and principles. according to Stoic theory. By giving our challenges a purpose, we can turn misfortune into a chance for further introspection and personal fulfillment. Concentrate on what you can control. Give your full attention and effort to the elements of the circumstance that you can influence. Stoicism helps us to avoid getting sucked into events or situations that are out of our control and instead concentrate on our attitudes, behaviors, and ideas. In the face of difficulty, you can retain your sense of agency and empowerment by concentrating on the things you can control. Practice gratitude. Acknowledge that hardships can ultimately aid in our personal development and cultivate thankfulness for the lessons we have gained from them. Stoics place a strong emphasis on the value of thankfulness as a means of altering our viewpoint and finding comfort in the face of adversity. Even in the face of hardship, you can discover meaning and purpose by cultivating thankfulness. Set an example for others to follow and show fortitude in the face of difficulty. Marcus Aurelius shows us that real strength is overcoming obstacles with bravery and elegance and encouraging others to follow suit. By demonstrating resilience via your actions, you may lead by example and help others endure adversity with you. Inspired by the teachings of Marcus Aurelius and other Stoic philosophers, you can learn to embrace hardship and gain the fortitude, bravery, and insight necessary to defeat your enemies with dignity and grace. Focus on virtue. The core of Stoic philosophy is the emphasis on virtue, which emphasizes the value of developing moral excellence and directing one's thoughts, deeds, and intentions toward the values of wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. Motivated by the Stoic philosophy, especially that of Marcus Aurelius, consider the following strategies for overcoming your enemies. Put moral integrity first. Make moral integrity your top priority and make an effort to live virtuously in all spheres of your life. Stoics hold that leading a moral life is the path to true happiness and fulfillment, regardless of obstacles or events outside their window. Develop wisdom. Develop wisdom via introspection, education, and self-reflection. Stoicism encourages us to pursue knowledge as the cornerstone of moral behavior, which empowers us to make wise choices and judgments that result in good things. It is possible to resolve conflicts with insight and clarity if you cultivate wisdom. Show courage. Show courage in the face of hardship and resistance. The virtue of courage, according to Stoics, is what gives us the strength and resolve to face difficulties head-on and triumph over them. You exhibit moral fortitude and strength of character when you bravely face your opponents. Promote justice. Promote justice by standing up for equality, justice, and moral behavior. Regardless of someone's conduct or opinions, Stoicism emphasizes the value of acting justly and treating them fairly and with respect. Maintaining the highest standards of fairness encourages collaboration and harmony in your dealings with other people. Exercise self-control and moderation in your thoughts, desires, and behaviors to develop temperance. Temperance is highly valued by Stoics as the virtue that empowers us to withstand urges and temptations that result in injury or transgression. You can develop inner harmony and balance by engaging in temperance practices, which will help you handle conflict with composure and calm. Lead by example. Set a good example for others to follow by acting and speaking morally. True leadership, according to Marcus Aurelius, starts with modeling the qualities we want to see in other people. You encourage people to pursue greatness and face their obstacles head-on with honor and integrity when you lead a moral life. Seek inner fulfillment. Pay attention to the happiness and inner fulfillment that result from leading a moral life. True happiness, according to Stoics, comes from identifying with virtue rather than pursuing approval from others or material gain. By keeping your eyes on virtue, you can rise above disagreements and opponents with dignity and grace, finding meaning and purpose in even the most trying situations. Inspired by Marcus Aurelius and other Stoic thinkers, you can overcome your opponents with grace and dignity by focusing on virtue and navigating confrontations with moral clarity, knowledge, and integrity. Lead by example. A central tenet of Stoic philosophy is the necessity of setting an example for others to follow by exhibiting the values and virtues one hopes to see in them. Motivated by the Stoic philosophy, especially that of Marcus Aurelius, consider these strategies for leading by example to defeat your enemies. Show virtue. By your words and deeds, exhibit the virtues of discernment, bravery, justice, and temperance. True strength, according to Stoicism, is found in leading a moral life in the face of adversity or other conditions. When you act with virtue, you encourage others to pursue greatness and integrity as well. Act with integrity. In all of your contacts, conduct yourself with moral clarity, honesty, and integrity. Stoics place a strong emphasis on the necessity of staying true to one's morals and ideals in the face of hardship or temptation. By upholding your integrity, you gain people's respect and admiration by becoming credible and winning their trust. Develop a humble attitude and behave accordingly in all of your dealings with other people. Stoicism cultivates a humble and receptive attitude toward learning from others by helping us to acknowledge our shortcomings. You can foster a friendly, inclusive atmosphere that promotes cooperation and teamwork by modeling humility. Exhibit compassion and empathy. Show compassion and empathy for everyone, even your enemies, regardless of their behavior or beliefs. Stoics emphasize the need to show kindness and tolerance to others. You may promote a sense of connection and respect for one another that goes beyond disagreements and conflicts by demonstrating empathy and compassion. Accept responsibility. Accept accountability for the things you say and do, as well as the results. Accepting responsibility for our decisions and actions is something that Stoicism teaches us to do, as it acknowledges that real freedom comes from taking charge of our lives. By accepting responsibility, you encourage others to follow your good example. Be resilient in adversity. Overcome obstacles and disappointments with tenacity and resolve. Resilience is regarded by Stoics as the quality that gives us the bravery and tenacity to face challenges head-on. You encourage people to keep going for their dreams and ambitions by being resilient in the face of difficulty. Promote personal and professional development. By your deeds and modeling, promote personal and professional development in both yourself and others. Stoicism places a strong emphasis on the value of lifelong learning and self-improvement, creating an atmosphere that supports both career and personal development. Setting a good example encourages people to pursue happiness and success in all facets of their lives. By setting a good example and drawing inspiration from the ideas of Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, you can resolve disagreements amicably and wisely, defeating your opponents with dignity and grace. Practice gratitude. A transformational facet of Stoic philosophy, gratitude emphasizes the value of acknowledging life's rewards and lessons, especially in the face of difficulties and misfortunes. Here's how you cultivate thankfulness to defeat your enemies, based on the Stoic principles of Marcus Aurelius. Recognize the wonderful. No matter how minor or unimportant, make time every day to recognize and be grateful for the wonderful things in your life. Stoics stress the value of developing an attitude of thankfulness because it helps us concentrate on the good things that have happened to us. Seek silver linings. Try to find the positive aspects of hardship and the lessons that can be drawn from them. Stoicism encourages us to see obstacles as chances for development and betterment, realizing that when tackled with the appropriate attitude, even the most trying circumstances may provide insightful knowledge and life lessons. Concentrate on the present. By concentrating on the here and now and appreciating the events and connections that enhance your life, you can develop mindfulness and presence. Stoics place a strong emphasis on living in the present moment rather than reflecting on the past or worrying about the future. Through practicing appreciation in the here and now, you can develop an inner calm and serenity that surpasses the situations outside of your control. Show appreciation. Tell people, even your enemies, how much you value and appreciate their contributions to your life's journey. Stoics hold that everyone we come into contact with, friend or enemy, can impart wisdom about who we are and how the universe works. You can cultivate a spirit of understanding and goodwill that goes beyond disagreements and confrontations by showing thanks to your enemies. Maintain a gratitude notebook. Begin keeping a gratitude notebook to document your everyday acts of kindness and appreciation. Because they understood the transformational potential of introspection and reflection in influencing our attitudes and behaviors, Stoics frequently kept notebooks or engaged in reflection activities to develop gratitude and self-awareness. You can cultivate an attitude of appreciation and thankfulness in your everyday life by maintaining a gratitude notebook. Practice acceptance. Acknowledge with grace and composure the truth of your situation, including disagreements and hardships. True calm and satisfaction come from accepting things as they are, rather than opposing or denying them. Stoicism teaches us to meet life's obstacles with acceptance and resilience. Lead by example. Set a positive example for others to follow by acting and speaking with gratitude. Marcus Aurelius tells us that, despite hardship, genuine strength comes from expressing thankfulness and appreciation. By modeling thankfulness in your actions, you encourage other people to think similarly and face and conquer life's obstacles with dignity and grace. Inspired by Marcus Aurelius and other Stoic thinkers, You can develop an appreciative and contented mindset by engaging in thankfulness practices. Recall impermanence, a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy. Recall impermanence emphasizes the impermanent nature of all things and the certainty of change. Drawing from the ideas of Marcus Aurelius and other Stoic thinkers, here's how to remember impermanence to defeat your enemies. Accept change. Acknowledge that nothing lasts forever and that change is an inevitable element of life. Rather than rejecting or fearing impermanence, Stoics highlight that it is an essential part of the human experience and should be embraced. Accepting change makes it easier for you to adjust to changing circumstances and get past setbacks with resiliency and adaptability. Let go of ties. Acknowledge that all things are ephemeral and prone to change, and release your ties to things, people, and relationships. Knowing that true peace of mind comes from letting go of attachments to things beyond our control. Stoicism encourages us to create a mindset of detachment and serenity. Live in the now. Pay attention to the here and now and cherish the connections and experiences that make life more meaningful. Stoics place a strong emphasis on living in the present moment, rather than reflecting on the past or worrying about the future. You can develop an attitude of thankfulness and contentment that transcends the transience of outside events by accepting the present moment. Practice mindfulness. Pay attention to how your thoughts, feelings, and experiences are always changing to develop awareness and mindfulness. The practice of Stoicism helps us develop a non-judgmental understanding of both our internal and exterior realities. Acknowledging that everything is always changing, you can have a better knowledge of impermanence and how it affects your life by engaging in mindfulness practices. Discover meaning in transience. By concentrating on the things that are genuinely significant to you, you can find meaning and purpose in the face of impermanence. Realizing that life is temporary, according to Stoics, might motivate us to live more intentionally and purposefully, to treasure the important moments in life, and to make the most of our time here on earth. Get ready for loss and hardship. Recognize the transience of everything to mentally and emotionally get ready for loss and hardship. The practice of Stoicism helps us develop fortitude and perseverance in the face of adversity because it acknowledges that change and loss are unavoidable parts of being human. One can approach obstacles with more confidence and composure if they are prepared for hardship. Set an example. Set an example of fortitude and acceptance in the face of transience. True power, according to Marcus Aurelius, is found in accepting life's transience with dignity and grace rather than clinging to delusions of permanence. By modeling acceptance and resiliency in your actions, you encourage others to follow suit and face and conquer their obstacles with bravery and insight. Inspired by the ideas of Marcus Aurelius and other Stoic philosophers, you can develop an acceptance-resilience-focused mindset that will help you handle conflict with grace, wisdom, and inner peace by keeping in mind impermanence,